What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions.
In a Jacob's ladder, we have two wires like this connected to high voltage. The arc is created from the shortest gap and rises all the way up. The reason is that the arc is hot, so the hot air pushes the arc up.
A grand welcome to all the fellow decoders out there around the world, wherever you are. My name is Logan, and this is Decode Your Reality, and today we're going to be breaking down and decoding Jacob's Ladder. And noticing in the beginning of this presentation, folks, this was absolutely last minute. Right before I was ready to do this presentation, I wanted to find a little piece of music on Jacob's Ladder, which was really about Huey Lewis and the News, if you've ever heard the song Jacob's Ladder, which was originally done by Bruce Hornsby in The Range. But anyway, I went in there to try to find the song, and this video popped up, which is this guy right here. This is what popped up when I originally put into the search box. And it was completely mind-blowing to me, which is why I'm showing it to all of you. And of course, as fate would have it, because I'm being used to show you this information. And this was exactly in line, and the very reason why I decided to bring it into this presentation last minute. This guy right here, has got over 4 million subscribers, and it was making a Jacob's Ladder using electrical circuits and real science and physics, and it blew my doors off, ladies and gentlemen. And you may want to check out the video. I'll leave it in the link below. You may want to watch it. The guy's kind of goofy, but nonetheless, it has a lot of significance. And it was this exact screenshot right here that blew my doors away, and the configuration of Jacob's Ladder, the Jacob's Ladder. And you'll notice that the shape of it right here, he's got two wires and they're both curved in. And it has everything to do with this presentation, because it has everything to do with this symbol right here. And we're going to be using this quite a bit. So those of you that are Pisceans, that are born in the zodiac sign Pisces, you are going to appreciate this presentation wholeheartedly. And there it is, folks. You can clearly see the shape of this Jacob's Ladder, and his scientific experiment is almost identical to the zodiac sign of Pisces and Jacob's Ladder. And we're going to be getting into all that, folks. And just when I thought I was at a pinnacle of showing some presentations, ladies and gentlemen, get strapped in, put some headphones on. This one is going to be groundbreaking material, some things that you've never seen before, and it puts a lot of things into perspective. And I'm going to be showing a lot of great information during this decode. But here it is. It's Jacob's Ladder Decoded, and this is tied to the Pisces, and tied to the Christ and the twins and the two fish. And we're going to be getting into all that. And of course, this symbol, this is our double helix. This is the fish bladder, and the Vesica Pisces fits in there, which is the flower of life, and our DNA, the tree of life and tree of knowledge. And, it really looks like this. Starting off in this presentation with a bang. Jacob's Ladder through numerology is the number 36, which is a direct match of the words Jesus Christ. How about that? Starting off this presentation in the intro position, this is what we got right here, folks. And when we extend on that, because this is the sign of Pisces, and I mean, the guy's doing an experiment, and this is the shape he made. Do you think this guy purposely created this shape because he knew that it was the sign of Pisces? I mean, it's an identical match, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to prove to you, this is fate for this guy. And of course, fate for me showing this presentation. And it's right there, and you can't miss it. And we're going to be breaking all this down, and here it is, an extension of that. It's the hourglass. The hourglass fits right inside the sign of Pisces, and the line across, going across, of course, is the separation point where the sand drains down, and that is the game of life right there, ladies and gentlemen. And you know, in the age of the Pisces, the Piscean age, according to many, many astrologers, is over. And I believe it's actually starts next year for the Aquarian age, but it could have already started. But nonetheless, it's close. It's already started. It's going to start. But that age, the Piscean age, is over, and the hourglass will get flipped over, and the game will get restarted. But this is all about the Piscean age and the Jacob's ladder, which of course is talked about in the Taurian Bible. But you notice the syncs, and I mean, I never saw this before. But of course, when you have a new set of eyes and you're looking at symbols, you can clearly see this is undeniable. And there's the DNA, their double helix fits right in there. And this is what I originally was going to call this decode. And for good reason, because it has to do with the two sons and the two virgin sons. So this is what I was originally going to call it, but I ended up leaning more towards the Jacob's ladder. It was really that intro video from that guy, which is what sealed the deal for me to use it and call it Jacob's Ladder Decoded. So here are the topics. If that hasn't blown you away already, some of you, your jaws are on the floor. You were like, how did I never see that? I never saw it before, but there it is. And I can assure you that is exactly how it fits into the narrative of the esoteric and symbolism and astrology. And all that's going to be shown during this presentation. So here's the breakdown of the topics in this decode of Jacob's Ladder Decoded. In the zero position, the intro, which is what I just showed you, starting off with a bang. The intro position. In the number one position, we're going to break down Jacob's Ladder. Number two, we're going to break down the virgin mutable fish. Number three, snake, pig, and porcupine. Number four, the numbers 6 and 12. That's a big one. Number 5, Eta Pisceum, or I can't even pronounce it. Sometimes my mind goes blank when I'm trying to pronounce these words. Piscism, Eta Piscism. Number 6, the Virgin Sons, which is what I was going to originally call this decode. Number 7, Magnesia. Number 8, the Immaculate Conception. It's interesting because the word Mary in numerology equals the number 8, and that was the Immaculate Conception category. Not done on purpose, but then when I looked it up, I'm like, oh, of course, go figure. Number 9, the Virgin Loop, which is going to lead into Prison Planet Decoded. Number 10, the New Age. And of course, number 11, always love to hear what all of you see during this presentation. So folks, get strapped in. This one's going to be a rather lengthy one, but I can assure you, as I always say, it's going to be well worth your time that you invest in watching this decode. I promise you, I'm going to show you things you have never seen before. Some of you may have seen this stuff, but I think this is groundbreaking material, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm just excited to share it with all of you. So let's get into the first topic, which is Jacob's Ladder. And it all starts with astrology, which is tied right into theology. Zwei Santos, astrotheology. It's theology and astrology. It's the ruler of our so below. And it all started with this chart. And Jacob's Ladder is in here, and I'm going to be breaking all that down. And really I want to give the contrast of two houses that are opposites of one another. And of course, in astrology, if you're new and you've never really looked at charts before, this is your first house, and they go counterclockwise. So house number 1, house number 12. And of course, that's Pisces is 12, Aries is 1. So they start here and they go counterclockwise. And so this is your ego tied to your rising sign, a big part of who you are. And then you have Libra on the opposite end, which is your 7th house, your mirror, and it would look like this. So your rising ascendant sign, most of you should know what that is. It's tied to the first house. It blends right into there, and that's your ego personality, which is ruled by Aries. And of course, on the opposite end, it's ruled by Libra, and Libra is the scales, of course, the balancing act, and that's called your descendant. That's your mirror self in astrology. That's typically where marriage and partnerships lie. And of course, it's the crown chakra in the 7th house and the root chakra in the 1st house if you synchronize those two. So I wanted to define the contrast between opposite houses because this is extremely, extremely important during this presentation. And it gets into these two houses right here that we're going to be going over quite a bit, and they have everything to do with Jacob's ladder. And you'll see those two houses highlighted. That is a formation of Jacob's ladder, and the hourglass could easily fit right over the top of those two houses and make that shape fit perfectly. And of course, our double helix is the hourglass, and that would fit right inside here. And of course, this does make the letter 8, or the number 8, I should say, right there. And you have two of those and you get a cross, and we're going to get into that in just a little bit. But it's Virgo and Pisces are the two houses that I'm going to be breaking down for this Jacob's ladder decode, and I'm going to show you the Christ and the twins and the virgin sons and all that stuff. Folks, this is going to blow your freaking doors off. So let's get into the second topic. Boy, I'm not speaking good today. The second topic, called the virgin mutable fish. The virgin mutable fish. And again, using this as the prime example of Jacob's ladder, it's house number 6, which is ruled and operated by Virgo, and its opposite, house number 12, which is ruled by Pisces. And when you really go ahead and start breaking these down, folks, it starts to tell us the real narrative, the story that fits right into the script in this software called the Game of Life. And this is where the Christ, the character Jesus, Yeshua, whatever you want to call this character, whether this character was real or not, I'm not here to debate that. It really doesn't matter, because the idea of the Jesus Christ figure makes it real. People talking about it, spreading their magic, makes that character real. So whether or not it was a physical man coming down here and becoming man is really irrelevant, because the idea makes it real. It's called the self-fulfilling prophecy. But it's definitely in this 6 and 12 house. And let's break this down, because we know that the story says Jesus was born from the Virgin Mary. And the Virgin of the Zodiac, ladies and gentlemen, is the sign of Virgo, the 6th house, which of course, when you synchronize the chakras, it's the pineal gland, our third eye. And we also know that Jesus was a fisher of men. And he made loaves of bread into fish and all that stuff, all these stories. And that would be the Pisces. And we know that the Christ figure came on the scene during the Piscean age. So it fits the narrative absolutely ironclad perfectly. That he was born in Virgo or from Virgo, and he, of course, went perfectly across and lands in Pisces. And remember, this is Jacob's ladder. This is the figure 8, the hourglass. We're going to get all into that. But this should be like blowing some of you away. I never saw this before. I never looked at it, but I never even saw this for what it was. But I clearly know that this is exactly how the story goes using astrology and theology. Jesus born from the Virgin Mary, Virgo, and being born into the constellation Pisces, the two fish. And remember, Jesus had a brother named Thomas, his twin brother, which is Lucifer. And that's why Pisces has two fish, which is the yin yang. And we're going to get into that. So it really set me off to start to discover astrology much more on a deeper level, an esoteric level, using the origination of the Immaculate Conception, which we're going to get into, through the Virgin, Virgo, and the symbolism was always there, and I never saw it, I never looked at it, but it was always there. And here is the sign of Virgo, the symbol of Virgo. And what I never saw before, and maybe some of you have never seen it, but here it is. Keep your eye on that symbol. It's right there. And there is the fish, the infamous Christ fish, which is, you know, a symbol for many Christians out there. A religious symbol. It's always been there. I never saw it. Maybe you've already seen this. Maybe somebody's already discovered this, but this is new to me. And I know that for many of you, this is new for you. Not anymore. No more secrets. And there it is. The symbol has always been there. And of course, you know, keep in mind that this M in the Hebrew is tied to the number 13, the mem. And that's where the word memory comes from. And that's tied to water and fish. And of course, that story of losing our memory coming down here as we become physical matter. All that story fits in the narrative of this. The letter M is the 13th letter, and we're going to get into that in a little bit with Magnesia. But 13 means death, because the 13th card in the tarot is death. And how very fitting. And then, of course, the fish being born into the sign of Pisces with his twin brother Thomas. And we're going to get into that as well. So now we synchronize the zodiac signs of the story of the Christ being born with his brother Thomas from Virgo into Pisces. And we know that Pisces is the 12th sign. And when you reduce that down, it becomes the number 3. Which, of course, synchronizes with the solar plexus chakra, our internal sun, the Manipura. And, you know, Christ in much of the esoteric text is known as the Son of God. And this is our internal sun. That's why it's called the solar plexus. It's yellow. And that's very fitting for this story right here. And of course, the Virgin Mary, born of the Virgin Virgo, is tied to the third eye, which is the pineal gland. And that would be, if you bring the two numbers in, it would be 63. If you leave it in its authentic format, it would be 6 and 12, or 126, which is tied to iodine, the 53rd element, the I am that I am. But there are many layers to observe all this stuff from. I'm just showing you very basic ones. But the synchronization of the chakras and the astrology houses is phenomenal, in my opinion. And this is where I feel, you know, Jesus being the Son is so very fitting right here. And, you know, then you get into the other houses that are complementing Pisces and Virgo, because Pisces and Virgo, these two houses are mutable signs. There are mutable, cardinal, and fixed. Pisces and Virgo are the mutable signs, as is the signs of Gemini and Sagittarius. So these 4 signs make up the mutable signs in astrology. And I'm pointing out Gemini because Gemini is the 3rd house in astrology. Gemini is known as the 2 twins, and Pisces is known as the 2 fish. And of course, 1 + 2 = 3. And these are totally in line with one another, which is why they're part of the mutable signs in astrology, which looks like this. And when you know the esoteric symbols and you know science and physics, folks, these These four right here make up a photon. That's what a photon of light looks like, which is where the light bringer of Lucifer, because Lucifer is Thomas, and where Jesus said, I am the light of the world, because the two twins, the virgin sons, born in Pisces, are this symbol, which is where the cross comes into play. There's your cross, and this is the iron cross. This has many different esoteric layers to it, and Mutable, of course, is all about mutating, where the X-Men, this is also the letter X right there, and the mutation. And of course, the mutable signs are the ones that are like the chameleons, because you need to be shifting into different forms, rolling with the punches, being different personas. And all of us, of course, ladies and gentlemen, were born in the Piscean age that are living today. Unless we shifted into the age of Aquarius, some people are in the Aquarian age, but if we're still in the Piscean age and haven't moved into the age of Aquarius, even if we leave that out, the majority of us watching this presentation were born in the Piscean age. So we were all born in a mutable sign. And of course, we need to be able to take on many different personas in this game of life to survive. It's survival of the fittest. And this is very fitting, very, very fitting. So there it is. And of course, the keys to the universe, as Tesla said, the 3, 6, and 9, and it just repeats. 1 + 2 is 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, or 3, 6, 9, 3. And there is great significance to this right here, and the tarot cards that fit in there, and we're going to get into some of those as well. So I wanted to just show this slide really quickly. This is very theoretical, and I'm just showing this as a possibility. I'm going off of what we're told in the planet's lineages. Now, this is something I have created, so I want to just be very, very transparent. This is something I've created. I feel that the sun, earth, and moon are the nature's trinity, as I've shown in some of my other decodes. And of course, the solar plexus chakra is tied to the sun, our internal sun, and I feel that the sun, the earth, and the moon are the trifecta, the trinity themselves, nature's trinity, which is involving the incarnation, reincarnation process. I came out with that in Angel Falls, as well as my 42 Decoded. And, then you would have, of course, Venus here, that's ruled by Taurus, and that's owned and operating the procreation, the ovaries of the women and the testes of the men, of course, Mercury being the first planet. And that would put Mars as the owner and operator of the heart chakra. And Jupiter is known as the 5th planet, which is where we speak all our magic spells. And that would put Saturn in the position of ruling the third eye, which when you synchronize this, Saturn would be through the sign of Virgo. And Saturn, of course, is worshipped by so many people around the world in their religious beliefs. They don't even know it. But of course, in the Jewish faith, it's all about the planet Saturn. Yahweh and the Yod, that's all Saturn, and that's all tetragrammaton. And that is supposedly, according to theology, the father of the Christ. And is this how it works? Is this what we're seeing here? And the lineages of these planets, what we're told. This is what NASA tells us. Does NASA tell everything that's a lie? I mean, I think there is some truth in there. Is this the real way it works? Minus this. This is my own creation, but I feel that this is a very good possibility. But is Saturn the ruler of the third eye and the birthplace of the Virgin Mary, giving to the Immaculate Conception and Christ being born in Pisces and going back to that solar plexus chakra, the Son of God, the Son of Man? Very, very fitting. Very, very fitting right there. So that's theoretical, but obviously has some merit based upon the numbering system and the synchronization of all this kind of stuff. So let's get into the third topic now, the snake, pig, and porcupine. And I felt that bringing the Chinese zodiac into this was very fitting. And some of you are fans of the Chinese zodiac. I am, because there are a lot of pieces that have so much truth to them when you know how to read this. Now, there are some people that do not think that this is the exact way these animals should be, but I feel this is the absolute best representation of the houses of the Chinese zodiac. And the rat's always number one, matching up with Aries. Ox is number two, matching up with Taurus. Very, very fitting right there. But nonetheless, the sixth house is matched to the sixth animal in the Chinese, which is the snake. And we know through the theology and the expressions of theology, it was the snake who was all about the fall of man. And I think this is absolutely very fitting, and going to the pig. So you can do a lot more research on this right here, but I felt this was absolutely a perfect representation of this right here, and Jesus being born of the Virgin. And is Saturn the snake? Saturn starts with the same letter as snake. Serpent, it's all S. And, I think that's very fitting. So there is some merit to this. So then when you get into the medicine cards, these cards came out in the year 1988. The main person, her name was Jamie Sams. She's passed on. But did she, or was she, a fan of the Chinese astrology? And is that why she has the snake as the sixth card? Well, obviously, I don't think so, because the 12th is the porcupine. And it would have been a pig, but it's not. And there's a wild boar similar to the pig in this card deck, which is the 48th card. But I thought this was very interesting. And here is the medicine card expressions of the porcupine and the snake. And if you don't have the book, this is from the book, and I'll just ask of you to pause this video and read these, and you tell me if you see any nuggets in here that would fulfill and synchronize the snake and the porcupine being where the Christ was born from, the Immaculate Conception, the Virgin Mary, into the porcupine, and being born with his brother Thomas, aka Lucifer. So let's get into the fourth topic now, which is the numbers 6 and 12, which of course is what we've been talking about. But I want to break that down even more for all of you, because it deserves a lot of recognition. And we've already gone through the Virgo and where the Immaculate Conception took place. And the tarot has so much to say about this presentation. And of course, the sixth card is the Lovers card, and the Roman numerals, the V and the I, have their own layers of significance as well. But there is the man and woman right here, the tree of life and tree of knowledge, which is Jesus and Thomas, Jesus and Lucifer. Of course, that's the representation of it. And the Godhead behind those male and female characters, there's the snake right in the tree. Very, very fitting. And then you get into the 12th house, which is tied to the 12th card called the Hangman. And this is where that the synchronization of this tarot card into the house of Pisces is so very accurate and fitting, because the Hangman is something we all share, because this is all about surrendering to new perspectives. You have no choice. You're hung upside down by your feet, which is, I believe, a representation of being hung upside down here in Wonderland, which is just a reflection of the light. And when you get into the old style the camera obscura, if you go study those two words, you'll see that was the first renditions of the camera, where it flips and turns a picture in its opposite direction and it mirrors it. And that's what we're looking at with this layer of life that we all live at. But notice that the Hangman behind the head of the individual being hung upside down, which would be the Christ and Thomas, Lucifer, there's enlightenment, and there's the sun behind this Hangman's head. And a very, very fitting for the representation of the Christ being born in the Piscean age along with his brother Thomas, aka Lucifer. So I wanted to just quickly do the numerology of these two cards, and I left out the word the because it does give it another representation. The word the is 14, which leads to God and time. So it would give another representation, but the main words of these cards is Hangman and Lovers. And notice, obviously, Hangman is fitting the story of the Christ with the 33, and then the Lovers card, the origination, the birth, the Immaculate Conception is tied to the 26, and we know that the Yod-He-Vah-He, in its original spelling, the numerology of that is 26, which, again, leads to Saturn, which is what I feel is the father of the Christ, Saturn, and all that worship goes to Saturn. So 26, when you bring in alchemy, another layer to observe from, more layers to define this narrative, it's the element iron. And we know through history, if you read your history, it's all we can go by. The Yod-He-Vah-He, the Tetragrammaton, all of that, all those stories came out during the Bronze and Iron Age. And how very fitting that is. Remember, the word God equals the number 26. It's really interesting. 2 plus 6 is 8. The mirror of 26 is 62. That would be 88. And we know this Jacob's ladder is an 8. It's the hourglass, but it's the number 8. So a lot of synchronicities with that. And then here's another one. Jesus equals the number 18 in numerology, and the Virgo 6 added to the Pisces 12. Get out your calculators. It's going to give you the number 18. So very fitting right there, folks. So this is not grasping for straws, trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. This is real true decoding here, ladies and gentlemen. And, that's why you can't just stop at this and call it a day. You need to bring in alchemy and the cards. And that's what makes this narrative so much more stronger. And to me, anyway, it really brings the story of its true natures and the origins of it. It really brings it to light. So let's get into the fifth topic called Etapisism. I think I said that right now, which, it's this star right here. This star, so this is the main star in the constellation Pisces. It's the main star. And we're going to get into that now. This has so much merit, and it's going to blow your freaking doors off. But here's blowing door off number one. The numerology of the main star, and it's a binary star now. Binary meaning 2. To me, that leads to Jesus and Thomas. Thomas is Lucifer. But it's this Eta Pisceum that is the number 36, which is a direct match to the words Jesus Christ. How about that, folks? What do you think the odds would be that the Christ born out of a virgin, we know it's Virgo now, it's obvious, and of course being born during the Piscean age, which would put his birth, if it was straight up just like this, it would put his birth somewhere between the end of February into March, which is springtime. And it doesn't have to be that way because the houses can move and be put into different houses, but this is a general rule of thumb right here. But how about that, folks? That the main star, this brightest star in the sign of Pisces, which is right here, and it's a binary star right there, 2 stars, indicating Jesus and Thomas, his twin brother. It's a 36 right there. So very fitting. And here's the guy who discovered the binary star system called Eta Pisceum. And it was this guy, S.W. Barnum, right there. And here is the star itself, the binary. There's only one there, but there's 2. The brightest star in Pisces, the 2 fish. And this is the guy who discovered it. And I thought this was fascinating. You get into his numerology. And again, this is how I know the whole entire script. Whether these real people, stories, the entire script is fixed and rigged. It already was written before each and every one of us got here. We're now just discovering it. And it cannot be any other way because, you know what some people are going to say? Oh, well, Sherburne, Wesley Burnham, he was a Mason. That's why you're seeing this, because this guy was a Mason. Folks, that's a freaking joke. Anybody that's telling you that is giving you a load of crap. Anybody that's kind of expressing that now is just full of crap. Because there's no way possible that this code is done by man. Now I'm not going to say that man's not consciously doing some of this stuff. Because once you become aware of the code, it makes it a little bit easier, of course. But I don't even have to do anything with my code, and I can show you all the code in my life and show you the unravelment of my code, and I'm not even trying to do anything consciously. And yet, all these things are happening to my code personally, without me even having to look or observe anything consciously. And that is a fact. That's not even me making anything up. So this guy right here was designed and built. Part of his code, his script, was to find and discover this binary star system in the sign of Pisces. And notice that his name is the number 83 in numerology, and that's tied to, here's the bridge, it's Krypton. Krypton has one of its isotopes, atomic weight or masses, is 83.911. Krypton is the 36th element on the periodic table, and we know that Jesus Christ equals 36. And again, folks, the star that he discovered is 36. I mean, it's right there. His name is tied to the 36 through Krypton. These are bridges. They tell us the story, all part of the software, all part of the script. I've shown this is not a one-hit wonder. I've shown countless examples now of showing how much merit these elements on the periodic table have. And of course, who was from Krypton? It was Superman. And Superman, the comic, actually came out in 1939. 39th element is yttrium, which is the letter Y in the shape of a snake's tongue. And yttrium has an atomic weight of 88, tied to the photon of light and the Jacob's ladder. And we know that the latest installment of Superman, the movies anyway, he's wearing a suit that's made of what appears to be reptilian skin. So there's this just tells us a lot of what's going on. So is this character really what this character is portrayed to be? Or could this be the greatest con that has ever set foot into our reality called the game of life? Another example of Sherburne, Wesley Burnham, is through the Francis Bacon. And if you've never seen this before, you may want to check out my decode on how to decode yourself using the Francis Bacon numerology cipher. It has a ton of merit. It's going to tie you to a card of illumination in the typical poker deck. But it's when you take a total outcome and you subtract 52, matching the 52 total cards, matching the 52 total weeks of a solar lunar year, and you subtract it all the way down until you get to 52 or below. And Sherburne comes out to be the number 42. And I mean, folks, I don't know how else you can really observe this and describe what I'm showing you now. 42 is what this guy's outcome comes out to be using this Francis Bacon methodology of numerology. And it's a direct match of Jesus and Thomas, which is a direct match to 42 and the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Well, go watch my decode on the number 42. It's all about incarnation, reincarnation. That's why life, the universe, everything is tied to that 42. And it's tied to the two characters that are inside this binary star system called Eta Pisceum. The two fish tied to Jesus and Thomas, Jesus and Lucifer, good cop, bad cop. Even their numerology reduced down. Jesus is 18, 1 plus 8 is 9. Thomas is 24, 2 plus 4 is 6. That gives you 96, which is the yin-yang. And that gets into the virgin sons. This is originally what I was going to call this topic, or this decode, was the virgin sons, and it was because of the two characters, Jesus and Thomas, being born in the sign of Pisces during the Piscean age. Here is the original spelling of Jesus and Thomas in the Greek, where they originated from, coming now from the New Testament. And look at what the numerology outputs of the Jesus Christ figure is. 96, and his twin brother, Thomas, 69. It's the yin-yang twice, ladies and gentlemen, which I showed in my other decodes. This makes up the great beast. This is the two personalities of the architect. Maybe it's the two personalities of the boss of the Piscean age. And maybe that boss is losing its job. And there'll be a new boss instituted during the age of Aquarius. Don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But folks, can you see the syncs that are undeniable? What is the Piscean symbol? It's the yin-yang. Undeniable. And now we know that Lucifer is even I decoded Lucifer, the show. Go check out my decode. Who is the character they casted for Lucifer, if you've seen the show? His birth name is Thomas John Ellis. Thomas. They're telling you. Clearly telling you what's going on. Even during one of the episodes, season 4, episode 4, he's at an auction, and Lucifer holds up his sign at the auction, and what number is on there? 69. Yeah, I mean, you can clearly see all the synchronicities. Here's the 96 in the Chaldean, 96 right there, 69. You can't miss it. And it's the two fish. And we are all the fish, because this is where all the fallen angel story comes in. Make no mistake about it. We are all part of that. All of us. There is no exception. And now we get into, of course, the reincarnation process. Look at what we have. During my decode of 42, crucifixion equals 42, rain, which is part of the nature's Trinity. Reincarnation's 42, Virgo and Pisces. Born of the Virgin, born during the Piscean age, 42. Folks, you can't miss this now. Clearly you can see what's going on. And so really when you break it down even more, ladies and gentlemen, the word fish, which is what we all are, life, the universe, everything, yeah, fish. Folks, we live in the sea of space. We don't breathe in water. We have lungs, but we breathe oxygen, which is H2O, which has water in it, precipitation. Precipitate equals 42. Part of the incarnation, reincarnation process. We're all fish. And here it is in the Chaldean. And we're all playing out this game called life. It's right there. We're all little fish, all little goldfish being mined for our energetic gold. And we all have the good cop, bad cop inside of us. We all have Jesus. And Thomas is known as Doubting Thomas, the pessimistic one. Jesus is the optimistic one. Good cop, bad cop. Folks, that is our design. Love and fear. We're made in the image. The creator, the architect, love and fear. Same thing. And it uses all of us down here in this game of life. Plays out its own game. And you can clearly see the script now. There's no secrets. And, I have a decode coming out on this, gone fishing. And if you follow along with me here, I'm going to narrate this for you. See, we all came down the hole. Now, I don't know what that looks like to you, but I did a decode on Down in a Hole, and it had Alice in Chains, the song Down in a Hole? Well, there's a lot of synchronicities to that, and I included that in the decode of Down in a Hole. And it's the number 49. And it's tied to this element called indium, going inward. And here was the big synchronicity that I found in the medicine deck. The salmon, a fish of all cards, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to use your common sense and logic. Do you think that Jamie Sams, who was the creator of these cards, was sitting down with Chaldean numerology and said, well, the word's down in a hole, that statement's going to equal 49, and I know we're fish, so we're going to make this card the salmon card to make it a... Folks, that's ludicrous thinking. Is it possible that she was using this? The chances of it, folks, are so slim to none, and Slim left the building. It's because all of this is part of the script. It was already written, so these things automatically connect when people create these things. To create the story and narrative, to strengthen it. It's all part of the script. We're all fish. All of us. And even the word fishing is 26. The God is 26. We all went down in the hole into what's called duality. I mean, look at the sinks on this. Insane. But this is how it works. We're all down here and we're all fish. That's why we're all Pisces. We're all the two fish. We all have Jesus and Thomas inside of us. That's the tree of life and tree of knowledge. Doubting Thomas, the pessimistic one. Jesus, the optimistic one. Love and fear. That's exactly how this game works. Make no mistake about it. So let's get into the seventh topic called Magnesia, which comes from magnesium. So again, the Christ being born of a virgin, or I should say the two twins, Christ and Jesus and Thomas, Jesus and Lucifer. And, it's now we get into alchemy. And since Virgo's the sixth sign, it's very fitting that the element carbon is the representation of Virgo. And carbon, of course, is known as element 666 because it has 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. You guys should know this, you guys and gals. And of course, carbon has an atomic weight of 12, and that goes right to the 12th sign of Pisces, matching up with the 12th element called magnesium. So this is the ending point, starting point, 666 now, the number of the beast, can't miss it, and then going and landing in the Piscean age. And magnesium, which is the word magnesium, comes from the word Magnesia. And Magnesia is a real place, and we're going to get into that. But now when we do the alchemy of the 6th house and 12th house, being born of a virgin, being delivered in the house of Pisces during the Piscean age, carbon and magnesium. Carbon has an atomic weight of 12. Magnesium has an average atomic weight of 24. What's the 24th letter in the alphabet? The X. That's the X-Men. We're all X-Men and women. 24 is tied to our X chromosomes. I mean, you can't miss this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And magnesium comes from the word magnetic, being fished. Magnetic is magnetism and electricity and dielectricity. It's all in there. So going over to the trusty calculator, you add up carbon and magnesium, 12 plus 24.305. Look at the number you get. We go right back to Eta Pisceum, the binary star system of Pisces equaling 36, Jesus Christ equaling 36, Krypton's 36, tied to the guy who found the binary star system. 36 tied to Krypton and 83. Folks, it's all there, and it's undeniable that this stuff is all synchronized together. When you add up the 36 and 305, 36 plus 305, look at what number you get. You get freaking 341, which is an anagram of pi itself. 3.14, and this is a very special number. I knew it was going to be a big number. You go into the string of pi and look at where the 341 appears, the 1,417th decimal digit of pi. And Manly P. Hall says the number of Lucifer is 741. It's right in there. I showed in my decode of the sun, the moon, and earth, that the sun was 417 or 174, the left-hand side of the dial pad on your phone. Earth is 852, and the moon would be 96 and 3. I mean, folks, it's all tied to the son of man, tied to the alchemy of carbon and magnesium. How about that? What do you think the odds would be to get these outcomes like this if it wasn't absolutely ironclad written into this script called The Game of Life? Even when you take magnesium itself, because this is where they land on, the two fish, Jesus and Thomas, Jesus and Lucifer, well, it has an abbreviation of MG, and M is the 13th letter, G is the 7th letter. When you bring those two together, most of you should automatically know what this 137 is. What is it? It's the 33rd freaking prime number. I mean, are you kidding me? Can you see, folks, there are no accidents. This is not about coincidences. This is all part of a mathematically precise script written into our reality. And you cannot mistake this stuff now. Here is the city in Greece. There's a real city named Magnesia, which is the title of this number 7 category, where magnesium came from. And of course, I looked it up, and Look at the coordinates. 39 degrees north, 22 degrees east. 39, of course, goes right back to yttrium, the letter Y, the snake's tongue, and of course, its atomic weight of 88 miles an hour, Back to the Future. Folks, time travel, we're all moving through time, tied to the Christ and Lucifer. That's why the original spelling of Lucifer is Hyll, which is 39. It's right there. It's 39 degrees north. You can't miss this. Cannot miss it. This is the total numerology of the coordinates of Magnesia, where magnesium got its name from. And look at what the outcome is. 60-9, which is the two fish, Jesus and Thomas. I mean, folks, can you see it now? And see how important this stuff is when you synchronize them all. Here's the original spelling in the Greek of Magnesia. And look at what, I forgot about this one. Look at what the number it comes out to, 70. And going into the string of pi, where does the 70 appear? Oh, just at the 96 decimal digit of pi, which goes right back to those two fish. So you have the original spelling in the string of pi from the 70 being the 96, and then you have the latitude, longitude of this city where magnesium came from, which is the 69. And of course, we know Thomas equals 69, Jesus equals 96. I mean, folks, you can't miss this now. And now we know the truth is out. The story's unfolded. And that is what Virgo and Pisces is all about. And you should know, where's your Virgo and Pisces? What houses are they in? That'll tell you more of the story about your script. Where your Virgo and where your Pisces, especially your Pisces, where's that? What house is your Pisces in? Because it, of course, can be moved around. So that leads into the Immaculate Conception, which again, the word Mary equals 8. And of course, Mary was all about the Immaculate Conception. And it comes to this right here. You see, these houses in astrology are ruled by certain planets. And Virgo, the ruler of Virgo is Mercury. And of course, the ruler of Pisces, well, of course, it's going to be Neptune, because Neptune is the god of water. And what is Pisces? What do the fish live in? Water. So obviously, this is where the trident comes in and Neptune comes in. And of course, the 93rd element. You know, they say the sun is 93 million miles away. Well, I mean, is it our sun or is it the sun's? Is that what they're talking about? And the weight, of course, Neptune, 237, 37 is the jack, 2 is the ruler of duality. There's so many syncs with this, folks. So many syncs. So I decided to do the alchemy and the Immaculate Conception. And of course, let me start off by showing you that you see the word or words Immaculate Conception is the number 80. And this is where Jesus was born from, the virgin, was he not? Mary had the Immaculate Conception. I mean, you can't miss this. And that's why I feel Chaldean is superior to all the other ciphers out there. Not saying and poo-pooing on any of the other ones. I just feel that Chaldean is tied directly into alchemy, the tarot, the cards of illumination, so much direct. And the other layers, you have to go through more avenues. But how about that? It's right there. You can't miss it. Right there. You can't make this stuff up, folks. So Jesus born of a virgin, the number 80 is Immaculate Conception. Mercury rules Virgo, the number 80. So then, of course, I'm going to do the alchemy of Mercury and Neptunium, because these are the two rulers of Virgo and Pisces. And when we do the alchemy of these two elements that rule over Virgo and Pisces, we get 439.019. And of course, 439 is a freaking prime number. And it's not just any prime number, it's the 85th prime number. 85 is the mirror of the 58. 58 is puppet master, if you've been following along. When you add up 439 and 19, you get the number 458. And I mean, it just gets comical, this script. This is how strong this story is when you find these outcomes. Look at this, folks. 458 is found at the 303rd decimal digit of pi. Are you freaking kidding me? And people think man's still coding this stuff. That's what kind of blows me away. So let's get into now the Virgin Loop, because that's what it's all about. And this is going to lead into Prison Planet whenever I end up releasing that presentation. I know a lot of you have been waiting and there's a lot of anticipation, but again, folks, there's so much content with that damn topic. I can't even begin to tell you. So here's the 85. I'm going to go right back and show you again. So the 439 from the rulers of Virgo and Pisces, Mercury and Neptune, is the 85th prime number. And so there is the 85 right here with this element rubidium, which is tied. This is the average weight of rubidium. 37, of course, is tied to the electric eyes, if you go research it using the Royal Society of Chemistry. But then you bring in the card of illumination, and this is the 37th card of the deck, called the Jack. The Jack Diamonds card. And of course, then you bring in Lucy in the sky with diamonds, and you get Lucifer in there. You get Thomas in there. And of course, Jesus starts with the letter J. Jack starts with the letter J. And this is the actual loop that I found that is an anomaly in the String of Pi and in alchemy. It's the 37 and the 19 and the 46. And I want to just let all of you know, you see 46 is tied to the numerology of the Tree of Life in the Hebrew, the original spelling. And 19, of course, is the Sun card, which is kind of the boss of this reality, and it's measured in Kelvin, the temperature of it. And this is the loop right here, ladies and gentlemen. And when you look at the loop through the strings of pi, this is the only anomaly of its kind that I've found. Some of you have been tinkering around with this. I've been messing around with this. I found this, I think it was last year, and I just have not stopped messing around with this loop. And this is why I feel that we are stuck in a loop. And the only way to maybe get out of the loop is not to put our faith in certain things. And again, what do most people put their faith in? The Christ figure. And I'm not saying you should or shouldn't do that. You need to make the truth your own. But what if you put your faith in the greatest story ever told and it comes out to be bunk? And it just recycles you right back into the game again. What if that's the reality that we're all faced with? And how would you end up conning the majority of people? You would create a story that was ironclad, that had no holes or gaps in it. And of course, we know that this entire reality is chaos and order. And when you see chaos, you run from that, and you're all about order. Chaos is fear, order is love. You're against fear, but you have it inside of you. In order to play this game, it's all fear and love based, survival of the fittest. And perhaps getting out of this game is not being part of this game and being in a layer of neutrality as much as you possibly can. I mean, nirvana means letting go of everything. That means your beliefs. And so here is the loop, folks. 19 appears at the 37th decimal digit. 37 appears at the 46th digit. 46 appears at the 19th digit. And it just goes on and on. You follow the arrows. This is the loop. And of course, it makes a triangle. It's right over the cross right there to his hands on both sides. Leads to the flux capacitor in the movie Back to the Future. Folks, it's all synchronized in there. And this is an anomaly that I have not found or duplicated on any other numbers so far. And this is very, very broad in its demeanor. And when you do the alchemy of this, 19 plus 37 and plus 46, it's going to give you the number 102. And we know 102 is tied to the Pandora's box. Pandora's box, which is all about Zeus putting a curse on the human being project. If you go read about Pandora's box, and Pandora's box is 45, this is the box that we all live in. It's called rhodium. That's where the RH factor in our blood comes into play. Notice the weight of it, 102. Goes right back to this. This is the alchemy of these three elements. It's 102. The loop and being stuck down here in Pandora's box. And the rhodium's all about the 45. 45 is the total number you're going to get when you add up the numbers 1 through 9, which is Saturn's magic square. Perhaps telling us that's the Pandora's box that we want to get out of. So then when you do the alchemy of the atomic weights of these three elements right here, using the trusty calculator, you get to the number 230.986, which leads to the element Protactinium, which is the 91st element. When you go read about this element, Protactinium means the first, and 91 is the two opposite ends of the numerical lineage of the numbers, 1 through 9 or 9 through 1. It's right there. And there's the 230 found from this loop right here. And of course, 91 is the mirror of the 19. And when you really start to synchronize this kind of stuff, you look at Protactinium, which is what I did. There are 30 radioisotopes. 30, of course, is tied to the word demiurge, the word Jehovah, the word Santa Claus, Jesus of Nazareth. Nazareth equals the number 30. It's the rabbit card going down the hole. And this is why I highlighted this in red. This element, Protactinium, with its isotope of 230, is and has a half-life of 17.4 days. There's that 174 tied to that number 458, which I showed earlier in the string of pi. Folks, it's all there in our staring at us. You can't miss this stuff. And of course, last but not least on this, the word battery equals the number 91, which is a link to Protactinium itself. And you literally have, because the word battery in Chaldean is 19, you literally have a battery here and a battery here, and perhaps telling us this is a self-sustaining system, and we all feed the battery down here in the game of life. This, remember, 46 is tied to the words, the tree of life in the Hebrew original spelling of that. So the story of mankind through theology is tied to the 46 and 47, which makes up our DNA. So the last topic on this quite long presentation, I've kind of moved and navigated through it pretty well, is the New Age. And, here it is. And, again, this is theoretical on the planet position for Aquarius, but what's half theoretical, because you see, Aquarius, when they found Uranus, the planet Uranus was discovered in the year 1781. And before that, the ruler of Aquarius was Saturn. But in 1781, Uranus became the ruler of Aquarius, and now it's shared. And we know Uranus is the father of Saturn. When you say Uranus, that's why U starts with the letter U, like you and me. Is this really Father Sky? Is this really, because this is the father of Kronos, aka Saturn, and the grandfather of Zeus. And then when you go and look at Uranus through the other lineages and the pantheons, it's the god in the Mesopotamia called An or Anu, which is where Anunnaki come from. So we're told that Uranus is the seventh planet, which would, of course, be through Libra and the crown chakra. But what if it was the sixth and tied to where Jesus was born from? So, but nonetheless, right now we're talking about the new age upon us, and we are now moving into this hourglass shape, this Jacob's ladder. These two houses, we are moving into, or have already moved into, the age of Aquarius, which means the opposite house, which has a lot to do with this age, will be the house of Leo. And Leo, of course, is house number 5. And it's ruled by the freaking sun. And Aquarius, of course, is the 11th sign, and again, ruled by Uranus. And the two cards that are in the tarot that fit this narrative is the Hierophant, which is the dictator, which on the world stage would be the Pope. And then the ruling card of Aquarius is, of course, justice. The age of Aquarius is all about unity and brotherhood, no more secrets. And when no more secrets are held, that means that justice can be brought into this world and there'll be no holds barred. So perhaps this is indicating us moving into the age of the golden age once again, and getting out of the dark age, which was Virgo and Pisces. And, or at least that was a part of it. And again, is that the greatest con that we've ever been told? Is, putting our faith in the Jesus figure, which of course there's really no holes to be punched in it when you look at what this character was all about, which is all about love. But is that what would keep us recycled back into the game? Or does it not matter and we just end up moving into a new age, and when you die, you're going to get reincarnated back into this game? Well, there's no way to tell. I know some of you say you're never coming back, but there's no way to prove that you can do that. It's very possible that you're just going to change avatars and level up or level down, but the law of one material all talks about graduation. You're either going to graduate to a higher density or you're going to have to repeat the same age over. So again, there's so many different narrations of this, but clearly this is the age that we're moving into. The ruler of the 11th house. There is the two pillars, the 1 and the 1, the 11. Here's the sword and the scales of justice. And this is what's going to happen during this age, I feel, of Aquarius, is no more secrets, and all those that need to be brought to justice will be brought to justice. That's the script, written in the script as we move into this new age. And it's powered by Leo and the Sun, the king of the jungle. And of course, it's the Hierophant. So it's the Hierophant and Justice. And these two cards together are going to usher in this new age. And this is the new Jacob's Ladder right here, and the hourglass. And again, I feel the hourglass is placed right over this, and the new sands of time will be starting to move. And we will be ruled by these two signs. So here's just another outlook real quick before I ask you what you saw using the Chinese, and how very fitting, in my opinion, again, is, we are moving into Aquarius, or have already done so, and the 11th sign in the Chinese is the dog, and that's man's best friend. And, justice, man's best friend. The majority of us are what would be considered good people, right? And of course, we want justice for the world. And of course, dogs are loyal and they're all about justice. And the DOG is the GOD spelled backwards. And what's fascinating is, you see, when you synchronize the opposite house, making up this Jacob's Ladder of the new age that's upon us, it's the frickin' dragon, which is the most revered animal or Chinese sign in the Chinese zodiac. It's the dragon, and how very fitting that the dragon is Leo, the lion. And that's why I know these are in sync with one another. The lion, the king of the jungle, and then the dragon is the king of the Chinese zodiac, and it's very fitting. And these two will be the owners and operators through the Chinese of this new age that's upon us or about to enter into all of our lives. And exciting times, folks. Exciting times. And so, I wanted to point out, some obviously exciting news. Many people that I see comment-wise are thinking I'm all doom and gloom and there's no hope. But folks, I've said this many times and I'll say it again, that life is cyclical. And we go from the golden age to the dark age. Just like our bodies. You go from a baby to a senior citizen and you repeat the cycle. Trees and nature, it's all death and regeneration. And so, when you look at this new Jacob's Ladder through these signs of Aquarius, the age of Aquarius, and of course the opposite, which has everything to do with this new age, is Leo. And Leo is ruled by the sun. So is this indicating that we are moving back towards the golden age, and the sign of Leo, the opposite end of Aquarius, which is the Aquarian age that we're entering, is Leo going to rule that? And is it moving back to the golden age? Well, this is a very good indicator and possibility, and it's, to me, the synchronization of this, going from, being in the age of Pisces and Virgo, and this may be the dark age, and the end of that is now moving and it will be moving through the Sun Lord of Leo. You know, the sun is exalted in Leo, and we are in the Age of Aquarius. So is this telling us we're moving back into the golden age, where life will become prosperous and we will have less and less suffering, however that's going to look? And that would obviously fit into the narrative of, you know, because the Christ in theology says in one of the scriptures, follow me into the house with a man bearing a pitcher of water. And it talks about that's where your treasure is going to be. And of course, that's duality entering into the new age that's upon us. And this is a clear representation in my eyes of us entering the golden age of the Aquarian age, and of course knowledge, and there is a unlimited supply of everything during this age. Obviously, technology would advance at a rapid pace. Healing would advance at a rapid pace with the technology. And if we are to be exalted with this sun and Leo having its opposite effect on the Age of Aquarius, it's very fitting, folks, that we are about to move or have just started in the new age of the golden age. And that is exciting news to me anyway. And of course, it would come with justice being served, right? All karma and everything, and how this whole entire game works out. And the justice would be to eliminate those that are the cancers of the world. And that's exactly how your body works. Your white blood cells are constantly fighting off bacteria, getting rid of the cancers in your body. And, you know, that's the so below, and this is the as above. The constellations, the sun, the celestial bodies owning and operating our reality down here. And I think this is very fitting, a nice ending with a cherry on top of this presentation of Jacob's Ladder. And this would be the new Jacob's Ladder coming into play. Aquarian age, and the opposite is Leo and the sun. And, you know, so folks, that's all I got. So what did you see during this presentation? I know a lot of you, this would be some groundbreaking material that you've never seen some of this stuff. Again, some of the stuff that I discovered was brand new for me. I was really excited to share with all of you. As you can tell, my excitement in my voice, a lot of ups and downs with my tone of my voice, but folks, I know this is how it works. I feel this is how it works. So you got to make the truth your own. These are my truths. That's why I always say at the beginning of my videos, the majority of anyway, these are my opinions and truths. I'm saying they're possibilities for you to consider. So you got to make the truth your own. And it's very possible that we are all creating our own fractals. And, you know, all that matters really is your own life, because everybody's living in your world. Not mine. Everybody's living in your world, and you're living in mine, and all vice versa. So it's a single journey. So what is it you saw during this presentation? Obviously, this picture is the hangman. This is all of us. And this is all what we were, being born into this, majority of us being born into this Piscean, if not all of us being born into the Piscean age. So what did you see during this presentation? I love to hear all your comments. And, you know, share this video if you feel and resonate with it. You know, feel free to share it. Give me your comments, folks. So that's all I got for today. My name is Logan. This is Decode Your Reality, and I thank each and every one of you for your contributions, your donations, your Patreons. If you want a reading, send me an email, decodeyourreality@gmail.com, and just request one. Until next time, folks, we will see you later.